For a game that claims to have no particular theme aside from collecting cards, Trio does an uncanny job of simulating the somewhat familiar experience of being a disorganised parent doing last-minute panic shopping for a child's birthday party. And so for the rest of this review, and indeed for the rest of my life, I'm going to adopt that theme when playing this game, where players are forgetful parents desperately trying to fill their trolleys with something useful before the supermarket shuts. But even if you play as it was designed without that theme, this tiny box is a great little family game and probably something you should own, unless your family has one of the two problems that we're going to get to a bit later. Now, I'm going to tell you about the game in a minute, but let's take a moment first to revel in the beauty of this box. Isn't it just glorious? It's had drinks spilled on it, it's been thrown across the dining room, it's been trodden on and repaired with sellotape, it's been chucked in who knows how many bags, and it's travelled thousands of miles with us as a family. There aren't many games like it that can immediately entertain 6 people in such a mobile package, and it's just so easy to get to the table with almost any group. I've been told many times to get rid of this copy and get a new one, but this game's been through so much with us that it's become a beloved family member. In fact, having the game in this state probably makes it even more playable because we don't worry about keeping it looking nice and we can chuck it in any bag we fancy. Inside the box then you'll find 36 cards, 3 copies of every number 1 through to 12, with each number representing different options to glitz up your child's birthday party. Candles, guacamole, maracas, maybe a decorative cactus. You'll have a secret hand of cards, your trolley, which you've quickly filled as best you can and then covered with a blanket to stop the other shoppers knowing what you've got. There will also be some face down cards on the table with unknown items representing unexplored aisles in the supermarket. On your turn then you can either ask any player, including yourself, to reveal their lowest or their highest card, surreptitiously grabbing something from one end of their trolley. Or you can venture down a new aisle and reveal one of the central cards. You'll keep doing this on your turn until either you reveal different cards, ending your turn, or you reveal 3 of the same card and complete your trio, at which point you rush to the checkout and buy it straight away. The first parent then to amass 3 full sets of party items wins, redeeming themselves as a parent and sneaking out of the shop with their loot just before closing time. Unless, of course, that is someone gets the 3 piñatas. Nothing beats a piñata party. It's a modest set of rules, that was all of them, but there's a lovely little game hidden inside here. And the deduction here has a little bit more to it than first meets the eye. Let me show you briefly. Rob, what's your lowest card? Eric, what's your lowest card? Now obviously we need to remember where those 2 cards are, but there's also a few levels of deduction available here. Firstly, Eric's lowest card is a 3, so he has no 1s or 2s. Not exactly rocket science. But also we now know that Alex, the player taking his turn, has either no 1s at all or exactly 1 1. If he'd had 2 1s in his hand, he would have immediately claimed that trio as soon as he'd seen Rob's 1. And if he'd had 3 1s in his hand at the start, then well, he would have claimed them straight away. Thirdly, we can theorise that Alex might be more likely to have 1 1 than to have 0. It's not a banker, but at the start of the game, Alex chose to look for the lowest set, not the highest, and so he might know where one of the 1s is in his hand. I think more accurately we could say that he's more likely to have a 1 than he is to have a 12. The deduction here is partly powered by the knowledge that there's no benefit for players in not claiming a set if you think you know where it is. If you don't sniff it out now, then someone else probably will before your next turn. And so you can use that strategic constant to make some deductions from players' failures which might just give you an edge enough to win. Because there are several levels of deduction here and some of them could be missed easily by younger children, we have developed a simple B mod for this one. Lowest level players, starting age 6 or less, will start the game with 3 tokens, and if they reveal a card that doesn't match, they can spend one of their tokens to put that card back where it came from and instead try another. Players at higher levels will get fewer bonuses, and the smallest bonus in this game for the older teens or for adults playing for the very first time is that they can look secretly at 2 of the face down cards before the game begins. As with all RB mods, when a child wins against a higher level player, they level up, and so they'll enjoy a lesser bonus the next time they play. So this game is sharp, surprisingly engaging for all ages, and it's relatively well balanced with children, especially if you play with RB mod. There's enough deduction needed that everyone feels really clever when they do get that set. That's what board games are about, right? And it's so fast that you're bound to want to play another game as soon as you finish the first. Now, I only have 2 problems with this game, but both of them have the potential to be a big issue if they affect your particular group. Firstly, there's a memory game problem. Younger children have a well-developed short-term memory from an early age. But whilst losing to a child at Uno might put a teensy dent in your pride, losing to a younger player here has the capacity to take your pride, along with his best mate's self-worth, strip them naked, spray them down with a water cannon, and leave them whimpering in a ditch. Just imagine how this would feel, right? You're in a 6-player game with a friend and his kids. Everyone is honing in on that set of 3s. You've turned 2 over already this turn, but you're struggling with where you saw the 3rd one. There's a tense silence as they each wonder why you're pausing and then realise you're struggling. And they watch in disbelief as you fail, only for the 5-year-old to your left to immediately reveal the full set on their turn, giving you a consoling, almost pitiful look in the process. Suddenly, this quick, fun family game has turned into a torturous exposition of a very minor memory issue which otherwise would likely never have been noticed by anyone. This has only happened once at our table, but the adult in question had to get up and leave, taking a time out. Such was the level of emotion and vulnerability that they felt. You probably won't know if anyone in your group has this issue until you start playing, but just keep an eye as a host if anyone is struggling, and grab another game as soon as you can, if so. The second problem then applies to the younger players in the house, and it can be a pretty infuriating game if your family is affected. Let me show you the problem. Okay, so we know Rob has at least one 1, and since he revealed it, Bobby took his turn and didn't try to chase them down, so I don't think he has a 1. Alex started the round looking for the lowest set, so he could definitely have it, but Eric's lowest card was a 3, so either Rob has 2 1s and Alex has 1, or it could... Oh, don't show us your cards! While short-term memory is well developed from quite an early age, it turns out that the skill of hand secrecy is a much later addition, in our household at least. Whether it's a lack of understanding of the importance of keeping your hand secret or some difficulty calculating the angles, I'm not sure, but it's been a problem for all of our children, right up to age 13. The amount of times I've had to shout, "Don't show us your cards!" and avert my gaze as if I was fighting a basilisk. Before buying this game then, just make sure your family can keep their hand secret. Just play Go Fish if you're not sure. Alternatively, you could always use physical card holders for younger players if you have them at home. But assuming that your players can keep their hands secret and none of them have an as yet undiscovered short-term visual memory deficit, this game is the perfect game to put in your bag and roll out whenever you need it. Waiting at a restaurant, filling time before bed, sitting on a ferry, whatever it is, you can play this game. You can play it with children as young as 5, as you can see on our parent percentage graph from our website, which shows you what percentage of parents think it's playable at each age. Turns are super snappy, and there's a gently rising tension at the table as players close in on sealing their 3rd set. Once your family has got the idea of the basic game, you can upgrade to the spicy rules version, which is where you require 3 specific sets to win the game, extending the game a little bit and making that tantalising piñata victory just a little bit more obtainable for disorganised parents everywhere. To find the Trio B mod and learn a bit more about how to use it, along with a load of other resources to find the best games for your family, go to our website, boardgamesforallages.com. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you've enjoyed this review. We're going to be looking at some newer games in our upcoming reviews.